Hello friends, welcome into my craft room. Today is my 44th birthday, and so for me it's a special day. And I wanted to pop in real quick before we started all the holiday fun special things that everyone likes to do on this day, and just wish you all a happy Friday, and that this is the end of Craftober, but I will still be posting on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. Now come along and let's make something beautiful for our homes. We are taking 2 of these long tubes of ornaments, pick whatever color you want, and then 1 of these 3D rings, and we're using the largest ring, or any of the other sizes. You can use whichever size you want, but I'm using the largest one. I'm going to cut off as close as I can to the circle these inner long metal pieces. Then I'm going to take the wire and break it right at its joint. It snaps apart really easily. Now I'm going to take my wire cutters and I'm going to pop off the top, cut the neck of the ornament, and then I'm going to use my hot glue gun and push down on the opposite side to create a hole, and then I'm going to thread on these ornaments like a giant bead. Now line it all up so that it goes through the hole nicely, and I'm going to go back and forth between the glitter and the pearl. I think this is so pretty, and it is such an easy project. Once you get all the way to the end, you're going to use some tape, and you're just going to tape around. You can also use some zip ties if you want to do that as well. And I want to keep my ornaments from sliding around, going back and forth, so I'm going to add some hot glue to help lock those into place. Once everything is all locked in, glued in, you can decorate it however you want. I have this Christmas truck that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to just punch some holes with my Crop-A-Dile. I'm going to run in 2 zip ties, and you can see I already started to tie on some ribbon right there just to get it underneath the truck. And I'm going to lock on the first zip tie going one direction, and then the second zip tie is going to come up and go the other direction. So it's got an X crisscross pattern on that wire, and it'll help keep the truck straight. Zip it all in place really tight, and then I'm also going to add on 1 more spot for a zip tie. That's going to be on the back tail light of the truck. And make sure you cut off any extras and push the little pieces up so that they don't scratch your door. But here I am on the back side of the truck, and I made it look like where it's at the tail light area. And I'm going to zip tie that on. Dollar Tree actually has red zip ties, so I'm using that on the back of the truck. I'm zipping that down nice and tight, and now at this point it's nice and secure on your wreath. I'm flipping it over, and I want to cover up these zip ties. I don't want to see them. I'm going to add on a bow onto that part, and I've already got the tails coming down, so it's nice and full. And then on the back side where the tail light is, I'm going to put some buttons there as well, because we just want to conceal all of those zip ties. But I'm going to decorate the center of the bow first. I'm going to add on some of these holly leaves from that ribbon I got from Hobby Lobby. And then the center of it, I'm going to take a button, and I'm going to layer it up with 1 larger button, 1 medium button, and you can see that I threaded the button with some twine, and I'm just going to put that right in the center and then tie a cute bow, and it just looks so whimsical. I love a good Christmas whimsical craft. Once my bow was tied, I took one of those little holly berries that are on that garland with the leaves, and I'm going to put that right in the center of the bow, and then I'm going to move over to the tail light on the truck. I'm also going to use some buttons here where I'm layering them up, and it makes it actually look like a little tail light, which is so cute. Friends, this is the easiest project, and it has a huge impact on a front door for a Dollar Tree budget, and it just looks so pretty. I hope you give this one a try. For this craft, I found this Santa ornament from Walmart, and it was $2.44 for the ornament. I'm going to use this 1.5-inch wood round that I get from Hobby Lobby, this wood spool that I get from Hobby Lobby, and this dowel craft stick that I get from the Dollar Tree. Start by putting some glue inside of the spool and on the bottom and glue that onto the circle. This is going to create the base for the decoration that we're making. And then put some inside the top of it, placing in the dowel and twisting it around, helping it lock into place. This is the quickest, easiest home decor craft, and I love doing this for beautiful Christmas ornaments that I want to be able to sit up on a shelf and not just hang up on a Christmas tree. So I'm taking some hot glue on the back of the ornament. I'm going to roll the dowel in it, and then I'm going to add even more hot glue. This is going to really lock it onto the dowel and allow this decor piece to be vertical using an ornament. I'm taking some drop cloth, putting that in that hot glue, and then once it's all dry and locked in, I can paint the base whatever color I want. I'm going to paint mine white because I really want the Santa ornament to stand out on a shelf. Now that that part is done, I'm going to add on some fabric around the spool because I want to dress that part up. So I'm taking some drop cloth and I'm going to just go around it with a bead of glue, cut off the extra, glue it down into place, and then I'm going to come on with some more of embellishments. And you can put on this whatever you want because it's fun to dress up the spool with different ribbons, different fabrics. It's all up to you. That's the whole point of all my crafts. I like you to customize in the way you want them to be. So I'm going to do a drop cloth and then a pretty lace ribbon from the Dollar Tree, locking it all into place with hot glue, pulling it nice and tight. And now we can put whatever we want on at the seam, which I'm going to do some of these beautiful pearl beads. This is a little pick from Hobby Lobby that I picked up for about 45 cents, I think is what it was, because it's all half off on all their picks right now. And I'm going to glue on some of the leaves, some of these crystal frosty pick pieces as well from Hobby Lobby. And then I'm going to take the berries and I coiled down the wire. I left it long so I can coil it down and it'll help it hold into the glue really nicely. I'm going to lock those berries all into place, and this ends up being the coolest ornament that can now officially stand up and use it as a decor piece on your shelf. If you haven't yet, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It always helps people be able to find these videos, and it helps the algorithm know that you're enjoying the video. This project is going to have such a high-end finish, and all we're doing is using some craft supplies and this ornament from the Dollar Tree. Now I'm going to deconstruct this ornament, taking off the tag, taking off the garland greenery that's on it. And then the best way to remove this, because it's pretty glued on there, is taking a pair of pliers, and I'm going to just grab the edge of it and twist it, kind of barrel rolling it onto my pliers, and it's going to come off nice and easy that way. When I was trying to pull it, I just couldn't get the best grip, so rolling it with the pliers really did help. Now that that's off, I'm going to sand it to smooth it down so I can get up some of that adhesive. Not too crazy, just enough that it has a nice smooth finish. And then I'm going to add my adhesive, which is my hot glue, onto the ornament, and I'm going to glue this scrapbook paper that I had on hand that was a pretty green color. I'm going to glue that right on there, and then I'm going to rip along the edge of the ornament, and it's going to take off that extra scrapbook paper, so that way it has an easier side for me to sand with my sandpaper. So I'm going to just go around and finish cleaning it up without having to use a pair of scissors or a craft knife This is the quickest way to clean up the sides. Now this piece right here I'm holding is from Hobby Lobby. It's a pack of wheels in their craft wood section. And they're supposed to be wheels for like wooden toys. I realized that this would be the coolest thing to use as a base for a stand-up decor piece. And the dowels, the craft dowels at the Dollar Tree fit inside that hole perfectly. So I put a little glue, I'm twisting it on there, and then anything that comes out of the bottom, it's not hot at this point, it's just still a little warm. I'm going to pull off anything that's on there, and it's ready for me to add that to the back of the ornament. Now I like to put a line of glue, and then I'm going to roll that dowel in the glue, and then come on with a zigzag back and forth with the hot glue. This is really going to help it lock on. Friends, you can use scrapbook paper for this, by the way, or you could also do a photo. Wouldn't that be so cool if you did a photo and turned these ornaments into beautiful ways to display pictures? I will say if you do that, make sure you don't put glue in the center of the ornament. Go along the edges so you don't cause any coloration issues with the ornament's picture. So you could add pictures to this, and that would be really beautiful too, besides just scrapbook paper. Now you're going to notice at the base where the wheel is, I added on another wood circle. That's just because this ornament's kind of heavy, and I don't want it to just keep falling over. So I wanted to have a bigger base. I glued on another wood circle down there. And now I'm going to paint it white on the stand, on the back. I ended up adding a piece of drop cloth, I'm sure you noticed earlier. That's going to help lock it in and have a nice finished backside. So after all of the paint was dry, I am now going to add on some glue so that I can gold leaf the top of the ornament. I thought this would be really pretty. And this gold leaf comes in a jar from the Dollar Tree for $3. I'm pretty sure they have it in their craft section. I know they were in the Dollar Plus section there for a bit, but I think that's where they moved it now. I'm going to add on this golden Christmas ornament hook. I have a whole bunch of these I keep in my room when I'm working on ornaments here for my channel. I'm just going to roll that around in there, but any hook that you have on hand would be beautiful. And then I'm going to conceal the back. Look at how nice the back is. Adding that piece of drop cloth to the ornament really did clean it up so you don't see all the hot glue, and once you paint it looks really nice. I'm now going to add on this ribbon that I turned into a bow, and I showed that in my Hobby Lobby haul that I got. I'll link that video right here for you all to check out those ribbons that I found at Hobby Lobby that were 50% off. Way better deals than you get from the Dollar Tree for these gorgeous ribbons that were so affordable for crafters. Now I added on this snowflake button, and I'm going to snowflake it up a little bit more by adding on some sugar glitter. I'm just going around with a dollop of hot glue right in the center of the snowflake button and along the edges where I put that paint earlier where I kind of rough brushed it on. I want to make it look frosty. So I'm adding in the hot glue and I'm working quick and then sprinkling on this sugar glitter. Yes, there are a lot of different steps for this, but friends, it turns out so beautiful and it has such a high-end look, and let me tell you, it did not feel like work. I had so much fun making this, and I hope you will give it a try. This sign caught my eye the moment I walked into the Dollar Tree. I thought it was so cute, but I definitely wanted to upscale it a little bit more. I thought we could make this really high-end looking. Now I've got this bag of a whole bunch of trees I've collected from the Dollar Tree over the years. That's just how I keep them, so that I don't have little trees going everywhere in my craft room. We're going to use this decor piece that I picked up in the fall. I'm going to use it for the base of the sign that we're going to elevate, than just hanging it on a wall, and then some drop cloth. Now when I took the plastic off of this little decor sign piece, I popped out that little hanging hook rectangle inside of it. We don't need that piece, so I just pop that out real easy. I'm now going to add some glue to the sign where it has the actual artwork, but I want to keep that gingham around the corners because I think that's perfect for Christmas. And I'm going to cut along that box, and this is so that the base at the bottom looks nice and polished, clean back sides, clean bottoms. And I'm going to just take my foam, cut that out with my knife, and glue those pieces down in there. Just wait, friends. When this is done, it looks so cute and high-end. Something that you could definitely look like you picked it up from Hobby Lobby or Home Goods or some cute Christmas boutique that you visited. Now for the sign on the back, I want to stand it up. So I'm going to add these popsicles to the back, and I'm going to have some supportive glue on there so it can't just pop off. I don't like my things falling apart. I mean, who does? Nobody wants to make a craft that's going to fall apart, so it's kind of funny that I say that sometimes. But I'm going to take this drop cloth and tap that on there. This is going to lock it all in, and then you don't just see that it looks like there's just popsicle sticks on the back. And then I'm going to poke that down into the foam. I'm going back a little bit towards the back of this box we're sticking this into, so that way the front can be added with some of those Christmas trees. Since it's a Christmas tree farm, we've got to put Christmas trees on this project. I glued everything in, the trees, the sign with the popsicle sticks, into the foam. I'm gluing it all in there very nicely so everything's tidy, not going to fall off. But we don't want to see glue going everywhere, so we're going to use some of this Spanish moss, and I'm going to just conceal that foam with this. But we're going to dress that up too, because why lose an opportunity to not bring in some red because it's Christmas? I've got some of these berries from a pick I picked up from Hobby Lobby, and I'm going to just poke those down in there. This is the easiest project. I think it seriously took me maybe like 10 minutes. I was moving so quick, and I'm just poking these berries down in there. These frosted berries are from the Dollar Tree. They bring them every year to the store. And I'm just going to poke that down in there to decorate it, make it look very holly berry. Since the sign actually had holly berries on it too, it was perfect. I liked a finished look of going around the sign with this gold ribbon really thin. I thought that would make it look really high-end looking. So I'm just going around with a thin bead of glue, working quick. I'm not going too long with the hot glue, so I don't let it dry on me too quickly. And then I put the ribbon right on it. When I got to the end, I cut it off. And then at the top where those two original hang-up holes are, I just put on 2 half wood rounds, and it looks so perfect for your decor for this Christmas season. This craft is super fun, and these Christmas ornament signs are so easy to find at the Dollar Tree. There's tons of them. I've seen them all throughout all the stores all over my town. I'm going to be using a red gingham paper, and then these are some of the ribbons, not that Dollar Tree one, that's a Dollar Tree one, but this holly leaf ribbon and the Merry Christmas ribbon are some of the ones that I had from my Christmas haul. I will link that video right here if you missed the Christmas haul from last week that I went and got all kinds of great deals at Hobby Lobby. Now to create this craft, I pulled off the metal little piece at the top, and I'm going to add glue all over it and stick it down to my scrapbook paper. You can use whatever paper you have. I had this really cute red and white gingham paper, and then I'm going to rip off the extra, going around the ornament as close as I can to the board, and I keep my hand on the board so that I don't rip the paper going down in and onto the ornament. I just want to go along the rim of it. Then to clean up the edges, I use some sandpaper. I sand it down really nicely. And now I'm going to add back on that metal piece. Isn't this so cute? If you're not really digging on the snowman or some words that they have on a sign, you really can change the look of them by adding some scrapbook paper. Now I'm taking this burlap bow that I got from the Dollar Tree, the Merry Christmas ribbon. I cut it down where it just has that piece of the ribbon that says Merry Christmas from Hobby Lobby. And then this adorable holly berry leaf garland ribbon. I don't know what we want to call this. I'm just going to call it a ribbon because that's what it was in the ribbon section. I'm going to cut this apart so that I've got all these different holly leaves and the holly berries, which I think is just so cute. This project is so fast. It took me maybe like 8 minutes, maybe 10 at the most. These are quick projects today. Super, super quick to make this one, and it has such a darling look for your home. I love that it also has a little bit of a farmhouse flair with that gingham on there. Now I added on all those little berries, and I'm going to add on a couple of buttons because I just can't help myself. I love my buttons. And then I'm going to come in with a little bit of greenery to tuck around the bow. I really felt like this dressed it up and gave it an even higher end look, which is my favorite for Christmas decor. I love getting that greenery in there. For this project, I picked up this not so trendy tree, but the shape is cute. Some of this ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and then I had this little metal pie dish, a little pastry dish. I got these from Amazon. I will link them, but you can find these a lot at thrift stores. I see them all the time in little plastic bags on the wall of their knickknacks. So I picked up one of those, but I'll link the pastry dishes that I have down below in the comments, description box. Now for the tree, I took off the red foily paper at the bottom, and now I'm uncoiling all of this tinsel garland they had all over it. Once I had that all off, I'm now going to clean up the tree just a little bit so I can add ribbon and make it more of a high-end scale look. To be able to do that, we have to take some wire snips, and we're going to cut off all these little nodules, or at least cut them down lower so they won't cause the ribbon to look kind of funny when you glue it on. And then for the bottom, I cut it off so that I can use the pastry dish, which will make it look more farmhouse. Now for the ribbon, I cut off the tinsel wire along the ribbon because I wanted to get to the ribbon itself, not that wire shiny stuff on the side. I'm going to add some glue onto my tree, and then I'm going to just simply glue it down and start to do a pleat where I'm zigzagging the fabric of the ribbon back and forth, gluing it down. And on each layer, I went around twice. I want a bottom layer and a top layer of this ribbon, because once I go around twice, I then am going to take my scissors, cut off the extra I don't need for the next layer up, and I'm going to do these little snips into the ribbon. I had this idea. If you've been here for this last month, you'll know that I've been making my own vintage ribbon using my heat gun. So I'm making these little snips so I can use my heat gun, and I'll show that in a second. Now for that little pastry pie dish, we're going to add some E6000 and hot glue, put a small piece of foam, put some more glue, stick our tree bottom into the foam, and then here I am with the heat gun. Now you can see I've finished all 3 layers of this tree, and on the second, because I wrapped the ribbon around each layer twice, I did the snip on the top layer of the ribbon. When I use the heat gun, because this has polyester in it, it's causing it to take action. It's like shrinking up, it's spiking out, and so first I'm just going to heat up. I'm keeping my heat gun moving. We don't want to smell any burning smells. This is just activating that polyester in there, and it makes them look more like real branches on the tree. I thought this was such a cool technique. I've never done this before. It was my first time trying it since I've been making my own vintage ribbon. Now I'm going to come onto the bottom of the tree where the base is, add some foam, add some Spanish moss, and then up at the top I removed the star. I'm going to use one of these dowels and one of these finials. I'm going to cut it down to size and glue that into the top. I thought this topper was really pretty and it had a very farmhouse style to it. I glued that into the tree. I'm going to take some of my made vintage ribbon where I just used a heat gun on it. It causes it to shrivel up like it's been around for years and years, but it's not. It's just a regular Dollar Tree ribbon. I tied a bow at the top of the tree, and then I had one of these little star buttons. I thought it would be really cute to take some twine, thread it through the holes, and then tie a tiny little bow out of twine and glue that onto the top of the tree. Friends, this project was so easy to make, and it looks so farmhouse chic for the Christmas season. I have so many of these wood planks on hand, and it was because I wanted to show all the different ways you can use these. Now I am going to use those as well as some scrapbook paper and some craft sticks, some greenery and some ribbon, and we are going to make the most darling faux presents as a decor piece. I brought together 4 of these wood planks vertically, and I'm going to zigzag my glue down them and use the craft sticks to bring them and bind them all together. Then I'm going to do it again, but I'm going to switch the direction and only use 3 of these wood planks, and I'm going to create more of a horizontal squared type box. It's fun how you can shape these boxes differently using different sizes and amounts of wood planks. Now I'm going to cover them with scrapbook paper once I flip it over. For the long vertical box, we won't be able to use a full piece of 12 by 12 paper, so I cut it in half, and then I'm going to match up the pattern and bind those all together to be able to cover the whole length of those boxes. For the smaller box, I'm going to be able to use just one 12 by 12 paper without having to cut it in half. I'm going to line it up into the corner and then flip it over once it's glued down and rip off the extra, getting as close as I can to the wood. So that way when I go to sand it, it's really easy to get off any extra that's hung over onto the sides of the wood. Once those are all covered with paper, now it's time to decorate them like a darling present under your Christmas tree. I'm going to use this Merry Christmas ribbon that I got from the Hobby Lobby store the other day in a haul. I'm going to glue them vertically and horizontally, turn it over. With those little edges, I'm going to tuck them down so we have a nice clean finish around the sides. And then I'm going to do the same thing but with a different ribbon. This one's a little polka dot red and white ribbon. I think this is so cute. Glue down the sides, make sure it looks nice and tidy, and then I'm going to flip that over. And then on the front sides of these presents, I'm going to add a bow on each one of the boxes. And then after our bows are done, we can start embellishing them with more things. This holly leaf and little holly berry is from Hobby Lobby as well. I did a haul on all of their picks and ribbons that I purchased the other day. I will link that video. And then I'm going to add on my second ribbon, and I'm going with a gingham bow, and I'm going to take some of those picks from Hobby Lobby. They're such a good deal because everything's 50% off there, and everything comes out to like $1, $1.50, at most $2. But they're so thick in size. Again, go check out that video if you want to see it. Anyway, on the back side, I just can't help myself. I like to clean my projects up. I don't want to see all these sticks, especially if you're going to sell this at a craft show. You're going to want to clean up the back side. So I'm just going to add down some hot glue with a piece of felt or whatever you want to cover. You can use some drop cloth on the back of it as well. It's up to you what you want to do. I'm just going to zigzag that glue all over, all along the rim of it, and then I'm going to push down the fabric. Flip it over and trim off all the excess, and you'll have a beautiful clean backside and the most whimsical darling farmhouse with a modern twist decor piece for this Christmas season. Wasn't that so easy to make and so cute? This project is so easy to make and it has such a high-end farmhouse look to it. I found these triangle cone foam pieces from Hobby Lobby and they were 50% off. Look at how many you get inside the pack for this price. They do have cone foam pieces at the Dollar Tree, but this is a way better deal with it being 50% off. I'm going to have a piece of drop cloth, a dowel stick, a knob, a little finial top, a tiny little wood candelabra, little candle holder, and then some lacy ribbon. Now the wood pieces, again, I've said this a million times here on my channel, I always get those from Hobby Lobby in their craft section. So I just want you to see that you can get stuff from Hobby Lobby for equal in price or sometimes a better deal. But you definitely can get a lot of great supplies at the Dollar Tree. I've been saying that for years here. Now I'm going to take that cone piece and I'm going to wrap it with a piece of drop cloth. I'm going to just glue it around the sides, trim away any extra I don't need, wrapping it as tightly as I can. Once I got to the top, I'm just going to snip off that little extra piece because we don't need that up there. I like to clean up any extra fabric because it just makes for a better presentation on your craft projects and it looks tidy. For the bottom, we're just going to pull in the fabric as tightly as we can, gluing as we go, cutting off any extra. And once you've got it all cleaned up at the bottom, then we can glue everything into place. And we're going to move on with our craft stick. We need to punch a hole into the bottom, so use your scissors where it's needed. Create the hole and then glue that craft stick down into the foam cone. This is going to allow us to be able to have this Christmas tree stand vertically and it will have such a beautiful look when we're all done. I'm going to glue that craft stick the opposite end down into this candle stem holder. And then where the glue is hot and still applicable, I'm going to take some Spanish moss and push that down in there so we don't see the glue and trim it up as needed. For the leftover craft stick, I'm going to add on that little wood knob finial topper, glue it together, poke a hole at the top of the tree, and push that down into the top of the tree. So now we have a beautiful topper on this tree. Go ahead and put the glue into the hole, push that down in there, making sure everything is as straight as possible. Now I got this ribbon from the Dollar Tree. I think it's so pretty. I love the lace pattern on it. I'm going to just pinch and glue on, and I would definitely recommend if you have those sensitive little pink tip protectors from the Dollar Tree, definitely use those because you will be putting your finger in quite a bit of the glue on this because lace, it just kind of seeps through. My fingertips are kind of dead from crafting all these years. I'm so used to touching warm things, so it doesn't bother me one bit. Once I got all the way around the tree and everything was glued on, I'm now going to take the tiniest bit of my distressing solution. It's just water, brown paint, black paint. I just keep it in this little cup, glass jar, and I pull from it from time to time. Once I lightly distressed the lace, the wood, I'm now going to come on with Mod Podge. I'm going to go all over the lace and then we're going to make it frosty. I'm going to sprinkle in all the sugar glitter. It has the most beautiful glow once we're done and it's dry. Now I'm going to add on a darling sweet little white bow. And I thought, you know what, this really does need a star. I'm just in love with stars on Christmas trees. I've always just loved the way it looks. So I took a star button, dipped that in Mod Podge and glitter as well, and added that to the center of the bow. I picked up this wooden star from the Dollar Tree and I knew we can turn it into something so special. I have some of this scrapbook paper on hand, just a bunch of random things that I have. And then I have this greenery pick over to the side. I picked this up at Hobby Lobby, 50% off, and I have this Dollar Tree ribbon. We're going to start by removing the twine from the wooden star, and I get these wooden pieces in their craft section. I'm going to cut out the tag that I want to use, prep my greenery and my berries that I'm planning on using on it, and now I'm going to glue on that paper to the star. Smooth it out so that you don't have any weird bumpy lines, and then flip it over, and on the back side we're going to just work along the side and the edging of the star, ripping away that paper, and then to clean it up I'm going to use some sandpaper. That gives you a nice, clean, perfect finish. Now I'm going to take some of that ribbon from the Dollar Tree and I'm going to tie it around two of the peaks of the stars, and I'm going to glue it into place. I just did one simple loop, pulled it tight, and then I'm going to cut off these extra pieces because we're going to tie a bow. This is how you get a store finish bow on craft projects. If you didn't know, they deconstruct these bows where there are all these different pieces. So if you ever take apart a decor piece from a store, you will see that it's not just some perfectly tied bow. It's usually a band and then a bow and even little pieces to the bow. It's kind of funny how they put bows together for stores in mass production. I glued on my bow. I glued on my little tag. I ripped it, by the way. I like when there's little details like that. I ripped the tag in half and kept the important parts. I added in some darling greenery and a bow. And of course, this is a Heidi project, a star button. I put that right in the center of the bow. Now at this point, it is just looking so darling. And I decided I want this piece to be able to hang up. I thought this would be so cute to hang up on a hook somewhere. I actually have like a hook inside my bathroom. So I'm going to hang this inside my bathroom on a hook. I thought this would be so cute next to a towel. Now I'm going to punch some holes using my Big Bite. It's the bigger version of a Dile. I always link all my tools down below if you need the link to them, or if you just need one, just leave a comment. I'll get you the link directly. And then I'm going to take one of those beaded garlands from the Dollar Tree. With those two holes I made, I'm going to take the beaded wreath from the Dollar Tree, cut it in half, wire it for a handle with twisting it around, and you've made yourself the cutest decor piece. For this craft, I found this sign at the Dollar Tree and it's cute, but let's make it cuter. I have this ribbon lace from the Dollar Tree, these little half wood rounds from Hobby Lobby, and this finial topper from Hobby Lobby as well. Take the sign and that lace ribbon and let's dress up the side of this box, this decor box sign. I'm going to just add some glue, go all the way around and cut off once I meet lace to lace at the finish lines. Now I'm going to take that finial topper and I'm going to glue a lot of glue on it. It's going to hold on to that lace pretty nicely. It shouldn't pop off. I'm going to glue that on, and then on the bottom side I'm going to add these little wooden half rounds to give it some legs. Now I realize that this is kind of front heavy because it has all this open space on the back side. I wanted to fix that issue because I'm not making things here that are going to just flop over. So on the back side I used some of these tumbling blocks and I put them in there nice and tidy to give it some back weight because I'm going to be gluing on snowflake buttons to the front. That will make it front heavy. You won't even see these wood pieces on the back when you put it on a shelf. It'll look great. So I'm going to add on these button snowflakes, and where there's a little hole to tie them on, I'm adding a dollop of hot glue, and then I'm sprinkling on some sugar glitter. This is going to go really well with this part that says let it, and it has sugar glitter already on it. Why not keep that going? And this is pretty much it. This project is super fast, super friendly to all levels of crafters, and it has such a darling winter Christmas feel. I found this darling sign at the Dollar Tree, and they had a whole bunch of different versions, but I loved this one, Believe in the Magic of Christmas. I am a big sucker for the magic of Christmas. We're going to dress it up so we can make it a little more high-end, because it's cute as it is, but why stop there when we can make it even cuter? I cut off the pre-existing beaded twine, and I'm going to add some wire. I feel like anytime we add wire to these handles, it instantly makes it look more high-end. So I'm going to take my wire, twist it around, lock it in place, add back on those beads, and then lock it back into place with the other hole. This already just upgrades these pieces from the Dollar Tree, and it looks so much nicer now. Next, we're going to embellish it, because again, it's cute, and we can end with this handle where it's a little bit of an upgrade, or we can take it a step further, which is always my favorite to do here in my craft room. I'm going to use this pick piece from Hobby Lobby that I picked up 50% off. I'm going to cut off some of these berry stems that have little leaves all over it. I thought this would be so cute. I'm going to add some hot glue, and I'm basically just going to glue that right in the middle where the handle is at the top. I'm going to shift around some of those little berries so they lay nicely on there. And then I'm going to come in with a gingham bow that they have at the Dollar Tree. The best time of year to get gingham ribbon from the Dollar Tree, honestly, is at Valentine's and Christmas. They have the best gingham ribbon there at those times of year. So I always just keep an eye out for it when I know those two holidays are coming around, and I pick them up. I tied this darling simple bow. I trimmed down the tails because I want to be able to see the words. I'm going to add a little bit of hot glue, just the tiniest dot underneath these tails, and that's going to help keep the words from being blocked by the ribbon. Once that was glued in place, I'm going to use some of these frosted berry pieces from the Dollar Tree as well. They have so many good crafts, you guys. Definitely go to the Dollar Tree and check it out. And then I'm going to just pull off the wire and put that right in the center of the bow. Doesn't it look high end now? Something you would see in a boutique. For this project, I'm going to be using some mini trees. You can get these from the Dollar Tree. They have them in green and white, all kinds of colors. Some of these wooden spools, you can use plastic ones if you're a seamstress. You can take off all the thread and use a plastic one as well. Some lace ribbon and some twine from the Dollar Tree. Now, I got my wooden spools from Hobby Lobby. I always buy them when they're on sale. And I am going to glue two of them together, making sure the glue is not spilling out because we want to keep this as clean and tidy as possible. I'm going to add some glue at the top, and I popped off the base of those Christmas trees because I want the wire to be fed down into the hole. This is really going to allow it to all lock in and look like one piece. Now for a taller one, I stacked up two. For a shorter one, I just used one. And I'm going to go ahead and pop the little trees in, let them dry. And now at this point, we can just dress them up however you want. You can make them as tall as you want, as short as you want, as big as you want with larger trees. The possibilities are endless, and they are such a cute decor piece to use in your home. You can put these on a mantle, on a table, on a bookshelf, all over the place. I just love these tiny little trees. Now I'm going to dress them up a little bit more. I'm going to use some red and white twine. I'm going to just snip off the extra, and then I'm going to pop on some buttons because there's just something so fairy-like about these. I thought little buttons on it in the center of the bows and the lace would just be so perfect for the Christmas season. I hope you will give this one a try.